June, and I'll talk more about that at the end. So fortune favors the brave and the bold. We always got to give something away. So who's ready to get going? So how to attract clients. I mean, that's number one, right? We're doing this incredible work, but we need clients. And we're also going to go over the 7 essential elements to set your clients, yourself, and your herd. This is a really big piece. And your herd up for success, up for outstanding results. And here's a little piece I like to always say. There's a level beyond success, and it's called significance. And that's that level where we really, again, take it to not only our clients stepping up and getting those results, but ourselves and our horses, and really stewarding our horses to that level of significance. So let's get going. So you're going to see in here, we talk about horse facilitated development. And I just want to be clear, if you're thinking, I don't know what horse facilitated development is, great. Horse facilitated development is just the wording we use as an overall umbrella so that you know you're in the right place. If you do equine assisted learning, equine facilitated wellness, if you do equine therapy, if you do, I work with the magic of the horse-human connection, and I don't have a title around that, but I know and understand the power of horses and humans, fabulous. You're in the right place. And so let's get going. Please use the chat as we go along. I'm going to be asking some questions, and I wait for responses if you've been here before. So how the heck do I get consistent clients to my facility? Anybody have that problem? Again, let's use the chat. Anybody have that problem of consistency? You might be brand new. You might have been doing this for 10 years. You might be switching gears, saying, I've been working with everyone. Now it's time for me to niche. Does anybody have that? Okay, Dawn, I appreciate you right off the bat jumping up and saying, oh, yeah, I definitely have that. Lynn, yeah, okay, this is good. Once they're here, they're hooked, but I need more. I'm brand new. Love that someone is here brand new. Daniel's brand new. Renee's saying, yes, perfect. Well, this is like a key base of business, right? Is we need to have people coming into our facility. And then once they come, what the heck do we do with them? How do we guarantee they want to come back? How do we guarantee that the horses step up again because the horses wanted them to come back? You know, how do we do that? So some people are, oh, sorry, it's jumping. Just starting my business, getting out of the office. Denise, love that. Yes, also need more, but I do have a few consistent clients. Fantastic. Great. So the good thing is that today is for all of you. And so how do you get consistent clients? And some of you are going to go, oh no, not this again. Number one, let's see if it's going to click. You need to be passionate on fire about this work. Like, it can't be that thing that you're doing on the side. And I'm not talking about time. I want to be clear. If you have a job and you're doing this as well, fabulous. But it can't be that little thing you're doing on the side. This piece of passion on fire is what makes me show up like this, because I'm passionate on fire about changing the world with horse facilitated development and helping other people do that. But it's really important that you have that same passion on fire in your own facility. And it doesn't have to be about the whole thing. It's up to you. What is the piece? And I'd love to know in the chat, what is the piece that you are passionate on fire about? That piece that you're zone of genius, that piece that you're the best in the world at, that you bring forward. And you could talk about this all day long. And so passion on fire is a feeling. Earlier, Daniel put something in the chat and I said, oh, you feel great. We all have that feeling. You know, when you walk down the road, you pass somebody and they make you want to smile. They might not even be smiling, but there's a feeling through that person that makes you feel light. And then if anybody ever had that feeling where you walk by somebody on the road and they just feel, and I call it black, they're definitely not passionate on fire in their life. There's something going on there and they feel black. And it doesn't matter what comes out of either of those people's mouth. It's about how they made the person feel. And so number one, I'd love to know in the chat how, scale 1 to 10. 10 being, I am so freaking passionate on fire, like you can't hose me down. You can't put me out. And 0 being like, I don't even know why I'm doing this work. Like, I'm not really excited about it. Okay. And you showed up here. So you're obviously not a 0, but where are you at? Let's just be honest. So we've got some 10s, a 7.5, a 6, and there's no wrong number. I want to be clear here. A 6, a 7, a 9. Perfect. Okay. So what doesn't matter is the number you start at with today. What matters is how you get yourself. What is stopping you from being an 8, a 9, or a 10. And the reason I say 8, 9, 10, as a gut check, if you are under an 8, and this is, again, this is not a public piece, this is a gut check. If you are under an 8, I would not start to share your passion on fire yet. Okay. Now, some days I'm not an 8. Some days I'm below an 8. Okay. When I'm below an 8, I have to go back to the drawing board and say, what am I not passionate on fire about today? And it's almost always, I'm not working within my zone of genius. I'm doing things I should not be doing. Okay. Things that the rest of the world's better at, or I'm not working within my niche client. I'm not working with the people I should be working. Okay. And so for those of you that are under an 8, no problem. Just take a look at what's holding me back, because passion on fire is a me. It's an internal job. Okay. What's holding you back from being an 8, a 9, or a 10? Because when you share from a place of attempting to be passionate on fire, when you're less than an 8, the reality is you're only attempting. Okay. And so it's an internal job between anything less than an 8 and an 8. Okay. So the first step in getting consistent clients to your facility, you got to show up passionate on fire. You got to be, at that place where you're standing at a sidewalk, it's a red light, you can't go across, maybe it's red everywhere because there's construction and you get stuck talking to people. Okay. And they ask you, hey, what do you do? This is that different of that place of being incredibly passionate to the point that you're so present, you know exactly what to say, because words don't teach. That's the thing. And that's a really important piece for all of us, is that words don't teach. It's the feeling that they get there that either wants to make them come to see what you do and learn more or not. Okay. So if you don't have clients coming, but you feel like you're sharing, take a look at your passion on fire. Okay. And if you're less than that 8, what does it take me today? Maybe you're just really tired. You need a break. Maybe it's that you're working with the wrong people. So you've got yourself into imposter syndrome. You're working with the wrong people you shouldn't be working with. What is the reason? But number 1, passion on fire. Number 2, in your marketing plan, this is just a marketing plan. Number 1, you got to be passionate on fire. Number 2, you need to share that passion. If you're over an 8, it's time to share the passion. So many people. So let's find out, how great do you think you are at sharing that passion? Okay, so sharing the passion could be on social media. It could be at the Rotary. You could go speak at Rotary. You could go talk with schools. I mean, I'm throwing a million ideas. It could be talking to people on the streets. It could be cold calling. It could be talking to community services. How good are you, 1 to 10, of sharing your passion? Or are you a secret agent? Many, many people are terrible at sharing the passion. They become a secret agent because they get nervous at this piece. In person, oh, somebody said, let's go back. So, and you can use the number scale, whatever it is for you. You're great in person or one-on-one. Great. Juanita, if that's your deal, where are you sharing? If you're sharing social media, but you're not great there, this is part of the piece of sharing the passion. And sharing the passion. Okay, Tina, I love that you're willing to admit you're a secret agent. This work is powerful. You, Tina, and everybody else on here, you hold the key that could unlock someone's lock. But if you're not willing to share this incredible work, share the passion, that person sits there locked up, doing the things over and over and over that are not working for them. I don't know about you, Tina, but that scares the shit out of me, pardon my language, to think that there's people out there that need what I have to offer with my zone of genius, with my niche, and I don't show up to do it. 8, getting better. I love that. Tina's saying the opposite. I'm good when I'm on social media, good feedback for my lives, but remembering to get on there and make content's my struggle. Great. Understand that it's not about you. Sharing the passion. If you are not sharing the passion, understand this key. Second step of marketing is not about you. Okay. Take the pressure off. Sharing the passion is not about you. It's about the person that you hold the key that can unlock their lock. Okay. Switch it. And I know there are some men on here, and this is a very general stereotype, but women generally have to switch it for other people to make it happen. Okay. Sharing the passion is not about you. It's about the people you and your absolute incredible herd as gurus can change. Okay. Great. Tina's got a quote on her desk. All right. So number one, passion on fire. Number two is share the passion with your niche client. If you don't have people coming to your facility, it's really important to look at these. If you're passion on fire and you're sharing the passion and no one's interested, are you sharing with the niche clients that you can actually be one step ahead of and work best with? Or are you trying to be everything to everyone? If you've heard me speak before, you'll hear me say a lot, you need a niche. Those are the people that you're one step ahead of, 1 inch wide by a mile deep. That's your niche. Trying to be everything to everyone will result in you becoming nothing to anyone. And that's really harsh, but it's the honest to God truth. And so number one, are you passionate on fire? Number two, are you sharing that passion? And number three, are you making offers? Most equine entrepreneurs and most entrepreneurs fall down in either sharing, they're secret agents, or they're not making offers. They're sharing their passion, their passion on fire, they're sharing their passion, they're so excited, and then they walk away from the crosswalk that they've done this with somebody, or out of that Rotary event, or out of that Facebook post, or out of that place, and they don't allow the person to understand how they can work with them. Okay. And so most people will not come chasing you for the offer. Most people's lives are too busy, even if they're interested, even if they want to be part of what you do. If you don't make the offer, most people's self-confidence will somewhere inside them tell them, well, they didn't ask if I was interested, so I guess I'm not a niche client, or I guess they wouldn't want to work with me, or maybe it's, and they make that up because we, as salespeople, and I have to be honest, you are salespeople, and people go, oh no, I'm a salesperson. That's what you do. Sales is having somebody come to buy a service and trade value for money. And that's what happens in horse facilitated, even if it's a not-for-profit, they trade time. Okay. And so how does everybody feel like they are at making offers? Let's throw that in there. So, or of the three, which one is the hardest for you? Which was the one that's missing? Because if you're passion on fire, you're sharing the passion with the right people, and you're making an offer of some sort for them to be part of what you do, you have people coming into your business consistently. If you are doing all these things on a consistent basis, you can fill your business on a consistent basis, regardless of what it is. So offers, I'm hearing a 7, I'm hearing some 5s, I'm hearing a stumble on the offer. Fantastic. Well, new concept. Perfect, Denise. Love that you're here. Dawn is saying an 8. Perfect. Everybody else, how are you making offers? Juanita's saying a 9. Great. And the idea of how you're doing it this, you know how I would judge it? And again, you say, oh, I don't want to judge this or that. How many people are coming to your facility? Okay. And so if you feel like every time I make an offer, people come, fabulous. If you don't have enough people, but people come when you make an offer, that means you need to go back and either be more passionate on fire or share that passion. Okay. So not getting the responses. Great. If you're not getting the responses, I suggest you go back to share that passion with your niche client and look at how you're sharing. If how you're sharing is not getting the responses, then I would be looking at how else could I share that is maybe a better fit for me. Because I had people on here say, I love share on social media. I think it was Tina said, I get a lot of responses from my lives. And other people are saying, I don't get my social media. Well, social media is not the end all be all. You know, how do you want to build your business? Is it going in and making an offer to the social services? You know, is it going in to make an offer at, again, a Rotary live event where you can talk? Is it going to a networking event? And as you chat from that passion on fireplace and people say, hey, what's it about? What's that offer look like? And so how do I get consistent people into my business? Because someone's saying it's hard to make offers. Great. Well, I'm passion on fire, number one. I don't show up to that networking event or that live call or any of that if I'm anything less than an 8 minimum. And my striving goal is always 9.5, 10. So number one, I'm showing up. Number two, I share the passion with the right people because I generally don't work with people who have nothing to work on. I shouldn't say generally, I don't, because that would be a no-go. I'm not good at that. That's not my lane. That's not my zone. Okay. I work with really high risk people. So high risk people, just to give you an example, where would I share that passion? Well, I'm going to share it where high risk people are. And so I would call the community services and say, hey, I'm not going to say a lot. I'm going to say, hey, I have a new horse facilitated development facility in town. Wondering if I could just meet you, take you for a coffee and see what you guys do over there. No pressure. Could I meet you? Like, again, I'm just throwing out words. When I get there, I'm still not going to say very much. I'm going to chat. I'm going to find out a ton about their facility, but I'm not going to leave without making the offer. And what does the offer look like? When they say, hey, what do you do? Horse facilitated development. What is that? I foster horse-human connection for transformation results in the human. Something like that. And they say, what does that mean? You know what? Why don't you come out and meet my herd? Why don't you come out and experience? This is experiential work. So you notice I'm throwing out words that I've just made up off the top of my mind because words don't teach. Okay. It's the feeling of the passion on fire, number one. It's sharing that passion. But number three, it's getting them out to your facility. That's how we make money. That's how we build business. That's how we get clients, is allowing them to experience what we do. And here's a little secret. If you do number one and number two phenomenally, number three will take care of itself as long as you make the offer. If you're passion on fire, if you're sharing the passion, and when you just said, maybe I'm giving too much info, I guarantee if you think you're giving too much info, you are giving too much info. Okay. A confused mind cannot make a decision. If you go and you start to explain to them while you're in their office, while you're on Facebook, while you're at a Rotary event, and start to try to explain how the horse-human connection works when you do. Oh, we got to mute. We need. You will lose them. Okay. So you go, let's just say back to that coffee chat, you're talking with them. I'm there to find out if I'm sharing the passion with the right people, because the right people is not anybody with 2 feet and a heartbeat. The right people are the ones that I am one step ahead of, that I can work with, that I know my horses as gurus, myself as a significant contributor, can perform the best at. Okay. If I get there and they start talking about, youth with nothing they want to work on, I know I'm in the wrong arena. So I'm not going to make an offer because that's not who I work with. But if I get there and it's high risk adults, exactly who I work with, I'm then going to say, you know what we do is highly experiential, but as head of the facility, I would love you to come out and just meet my herd. So you can see a little bit about if we're a fit for your clients and, what they would be experiencing. Guess what? If they're serious about, growth in their facility and you've come through in Passion on Fire, they're showing up. Okay. So in this 3-step, you can decide what make the offer is. However, if we were not equine entrepreneurs, there'd be a whole bunch of ideas of what make offers are. As equine entrepreneurs, we are not the guru. We have to find a way to get the people we've shared with come out to meet our gurus, to come out and meet our herd. If you do well at number 1 and number 2, they're itching for you to make an offer. And when you tell them, now you don't have to do it this way, but I do. When you tell them this is a complimentary, come on out. There's no risk. Come on out. See where we are. Meet our herd. It's experiential and just see what we do. Don't tell them you're going to do a session on them and crack them open. You're just going to tell them, come on out, meet the herd, see what we do, see our facility. If nothing else, you're going to have a great break from the office. That's obviously to do. Okay, so here's the thing. Truths are always simple. There may be some of you who say, like, this is just too simple. In the world, especially the world of horse facilitated development, truths are always simple. If you are definitely passion on fire and you are definitely making offers, look at share the passion. Are you sharing the passion with the right people? Are you over talking? This should not be, if you go for an hour meeting, you should talk about them for 55 minutes. And when they finally say, like, sorry, I've been taking up all the conversation, and ask you what you do, it should literally be something as simple as, I do incredible work. I work with horses and foster the horse-human connection for incredible transformational results in the human. Why don't you come out? Would love to have you come out and meet there. No cost. You should really come see for yourself. That's literally as simple as this work should be. Truths are always simple. If you're the one talking for the 55 minutes and giving them 5 minutes, I guarantee you've talked them out of whatever sale that they were coming for. All right, so why meet the herd? So again, I call it meet the herd. You can call it walk and talk. You can call it picnic with pals. I mean, I don't know. You can, whatever that is. But why do we do meet the herd? So 3 reasons. And you'll notice that to get clients is not number 1. Okay. The reason number 1, and I'm going to show you exactly how we do meet the herd, because that's what we do at Equine Entrepreneur. We generally don't do certification. We do what's next. I've become certified. What's next? I don't know what to do. Okay. So connection, guardian and protection of your herd. The number 1 reason I have people come out and I charge them $0. You can charge if you want. I want to be clear just on what I do. Why do I charge them $0? Because stewarding my horses is the very most important thing that ever happens on my ranch. And so if I'm going to have people come, not every person that comes to you will be safe for your clients. And again, throw it in the chat. If any of you ever had a client come that was not safe for your horses, I think I said that backwards. I'm going to tell you just a really quick story. I had someone come once. They were sent, it was a family sent from the ministry, and they were 100% not safe for me. But even more important, they were not safe for my clients. And so, or pardon me, my horses. Taylor, I see you said yes. Thank you. So in this work, if we want to really elevate the industry, it's important that we start talking much bigger conversations about stewarding our herd. Okay. Your horses will tell you if there is something not safe about those clients, if they're not showing up in a way that is safe. Okay, so that's the first one. Someone saying, yes, just recently, first one, great. So if you have the awareness, when we know better, we do better, right? So like John just said, just recently, first one. So you may not even have ever thought of this. That is, are these people safe for your horses? Well, now you know better, right? You know better, you do better. So that's the first reason I do meet the herd. It's not for clients. It's to make sure they're safe for my herd. They're not all safe. Number 2 reason, it's the right to say no. This idea that everybody is, like, again, with 2 feet and a heartbeat and some money to spend is good for you, your mental health, your horses, and your facility is a crazy idea. When I take no money from people, I have the right to say no. Okay, so I have had this, not many, 2 to 3 times when clients have come. The horses have been very clear this is not safe for them and therefore not safe for me. And the right to say, this is not going to work out. Okay. Step up to that level as a business owner that takes control over what happens. Nothing happens to you in business. Okay. When you set it up. So, what does it look like with my horses? It's nonverbal communication, Lynn. It can literally be head really, really high, pinned. I mean, you know your herd. And so anything completely out of the ordinary, you'll know in your gut when it shows up in the horses unsafe. Okay. Not everybody's a fit. Yeah. And yeah, Joanne's saying she can recommend somebody else. Totally. You know who else isn't a fit in my herd? People who should be at riding lessons. Right? It doesn't all have to be high stressful stuff. I don't do riding lessons. People who want to play with ponies. Perfect. Just not at my facility. And so I don't even want to waste an hour. Didn't take any money, not wasting the time. Okay. So guardian and protect your herd. Someone says they walk away. So many want to ride. And absolutely. So Anne, I would suggest when you share your passion, number 2, just be clear that you're not a riding place, and Dawn, yeah, I trust my herd. I trust my instinct. Perfect. So 3rd reason we do meet the herd. And again, I build my business almost 100% on meet the herd, and know that many of you had one-on-one conversations with me in mentorship. That's just a meet the herd. When I say, hey, come out for free, come chat with me, we'll do a mentorship. It's the same thing. It's a meet the herd, right? Are we safe for each other? Are we each other's niche? Could we actually work together? Same piece. And lastly, like we just talked about, it's entrepreneurship. The last reason, not the first reason we do meet the herd, is to round up clients. I have rounded up more clients doing meet the herd than in absolutely anything else. And guess what happens? People come out to do meet the herd. Meet the herd is actually a session. I want to be clear. Step up to the value and allow your horses to step up to the work they do, regardless of whether you're being paid or not. Okay. Taylor, this happened where the horses were wonderful with the child, but completely different on the dad who was difficult to work with. Save lease doesn't happen often. Yeah. And so then you look at that and say, maybe it's the dad that's not safe. So that's where the parameters come out. Didn't pay this time. Dad thinks he's there. Next time you want to come back and pay? Great. But dad's out of the ring. Dad's nowhere nearby. You never know who the threat is for the client. So I will tell you, of the meet the herds that I've done, 100% of the people that came to my ranch to do meet the herd that I offered sessions to signed up. Why? Because when I do meet the herd, it's a session. I treat it of the value. I mean, I value their time. I value my time and my herd's time. I don't care if they paid money. I allow the horses to step up and do the work. I allow myself to contribute, because we're not the gurus, the horses are. Take the pressure off, but I contribute at the highest possible level. And so almost every time the horses crack them open and they find the root of the problem, the root of the idea, the root of the piece that they came for. And the client stands there at the gate on the way out and says, when can I come back? Why? Because of the experiential piece that you will never give them in the office, on the side of the road, on Facebook, etc. So is this making sense? I'm just going to take a breather here real quick and grab a coffee. Love to know in the chat, is this making some clarity and sense to you? And can you see some gaps in maybe the way you've just been working it so far? Awesome. Joanne, do I only do organizations? No, I do. For me, it's who fits into my niche. A lot of my niche come from organizations, yes. And a lot of referrals. Organizations refer to other organizations. So I get a ton of referrals. So that was the other piece I was going to say. When you have clients coming out to do, I guess they're not clients, but people coming out at that point to come out to see and try this. If they come out thinking they're coming to meet a herd, it ends up being a full session. They have these huge aha awarenesses, which they will. Guess what? They go back to town or they go back to their life and they tell other people. So that's the other piece. You do an incredible meet the herd and then you get the call, hey, my friend Shari was just out there and she kind of was able to meet your herd. I know she just signed up for a 6-week program. Can I come? I don't even know what it is, but there's something in there I should feel. Okay. So it happens more and more and more. So yeah, Betty Ann, you can build your whole business on a meet the herd. Call it what you want. For me, it's just, I call it meet the herd because I say to people all the time, why don't you come out and meet the herd? You know? And yeah, so that's, I'm going to run out of time. I know this every single time. So you've got them coming. What now, right? Like now what next? That's what Equine Entrepreneur is. We're the what next company. This picture of me is so awkward. Like to me, this is such an awkward picture. And funny thing about this, and the reason it's here is that when I started, I did this and I went to the community services where here they are the social services. And that was where my clients were. I was passion on fire. I shared that passion and I made an offer to the executive director. I just called up, I just thought, and I didn't know who it was. I just called up the head executive director. Can I meet you for coffee? Went there and did kind of what we talked about. And then said, I'd love to have you come out and meet the herd. She came and met the herd. Guess what happened? The herd cracked her open based on the next steps I'm going to show you. She had her breakthrough moment. Then guess what happened? She said to me, I want to bring the entire staff of social workers out. Any of you, again in the chat, does that make any of you nervous? Because I have no mental health background. Okay. No mental health background. But I knew I wanted to work at a very high level in this work. I know the power of the horse-human connection, and I know my horses want to work on the big stuff, okay? Nobody else in the chat would be nervous about the entire social workers coming out? I sure as heck was, okay? Excited and scared. Yeah, that was me. Whoever just said that, Dawn. Oh my gosh. So, and I still kind of get nervous. And so this was me later on in that. But here's the thing. I remember calling my business partner, Jessica, who I didn't know. I had met her once. So she wasn't a business partner at that time. I'd met her once when I did my certification. And I said to her, like, once we get going, I can facilitate in the unknown moments. I can trust my herd. I can trust myself, but I don't know how to get started. Does anybody, and again, through the chat or hands up, do you ever feel that? Like, I just don't know how to go from all of the things that I know about the horse-human connection to explain enough to the client so they know, so we can have a great session. And how do you get started? Anybody else struggle with the how do you get started? What the heck do I do? So I'm hearing yes, yes. Betty Ann's saying me. Okay, perfect. So that was me. That was me this day. Well, right before this day. And I called Jess and said, I know the last 90%. It's the first 10%. I don't know how to get going. What do I say? How do I get going? And someone's saying, Anne is saying sometimes, but once you get going, the passion comes through completely. It's the once we get going. How the heck do I get going? Right? So this day, and spoiler alert, turned out phenomenal. And being willing, brave enough to look at what we needed to do to get going. What did the client need to hear? What did the client need to understand? Because it wasn't that I didn't trust the horse and didn't know how to do it. I didn't know how to get from where I was to enough understanding for the clients that they could be set up for success so that we could proceed through the horse-human connection. Okay. This was at the end. I'm smiling. It's awkward. I've had a great time. And this opened up every door into my horse facilitated development career. So let's get to it. Anybody want to know the 7 steps? Anybody excited to know what is it going to take? Because here's the thing. It's one thing to work your butt off and get the clients out, to be passionate on fire, to share, to go to those meetings, to get those big guns out, the people that you really want to work with. But have any of you ever had people come out and you're thinking, well, it's not a session, don't really know what to do, and you awkwardly walk around with your horses for half an hour or 40 minutes, and then they leave and they don't ask, you didn't make an offer for them to come back, and it felt kind of weak. Anybody ever had that? Lynn saying me. Thank you, Lynn. We've got a yes from Danielle. Anybody else? Anybody else had that where you're thinking it just felt underwhelming? So why is it underwhelming? Because the clients know nothing about the horses. They have no idea what's going on. And I'm going to tell you that 10 clients out of 10 clients that come that are not children are questioning whether there's any validity to this work. I'm going to be just really, really honest. I have clients say to me every single time, oh my gosh, I kind of thought the whole thing was BS, but the group was going, so I came, or, they don't understand. And so what are the 7 essential elements? What are the pieces that people either need to know or you need to work on having them understand so that they come in at a much higher level when they work with the horses? And yeah, great breakthroughs, no follow-ups. Yeah, exactly. So if they're having the breakthroughs, did you make the offer before they left? Because offers aren't something you make one time. So what are these 7 essential elements to set your clients up for success, for outstanding results? And guess what? At the same time you're setting your clients up for success and outstanding results, you're setting yourself up for it, and you're also setting your herd up for it. We have to come in as facilitator that our herd is comfortable and trusting to work with. We have to set our clients up to be the clients that our herd is comfortable and acceptant to work with. Okay. And so the first thing I talk to clients, so these are all things I literally talk to clients about at the walk and talk, at the meet the herd. This is how we set them up to be in the frame of mind to be able to find that breakthrough. So vulnerability. So what is vulnerability? And I literally, as I'm walking in the gate, I'll say, and whether it's a group, and especially in a group of coworkers, for us, you're going to either have a little bit of fun today, or you're going to have a lot of fun and a whole heck of a lot of success today. And the thing about success is, I always say, we do a whole heck of a lot of hard work disguised as a whole hell of a lot of fun. Okay. But if we're not willing to be vulnerable, we cannot work with horses. Because what is vulnerability? Vulnerability is congruence. Congruence is the first language of the horse. Congruence is the reason that we work with horses and not other animals that provide therapeutic value, such as goats or dogs or other animals. Horses live their life in vulnerability. They live their life at the step beyond vulnerability, which is congruence. And that's how we work with horses. And so if the client is not willing to be vulnerable, therefore congruent, we can't work with horses, because horses show up when we do. They have no interest in working with people that are incongruent or hiding the truth. So in all of this, I'm actually talking to both facilitators, I'm talking to myself, and I'm talking about the client. So as I'm telling the client, it's going to be essential that you're willing to be vulnerable and congruent. And what does vulnerable and congruence look like here on the ranch? It's saying one thing and feeling the exact same way. So I'll say to a client, for example, at the gate, I met you at the gate and I said, hey, how you doing? And you said, good. And then you said to me, how am I doing? And I said, well, every time I say, good, good, good. Why? To prove the point at vulnerability. I don't think you were good at the gate, because good is nothing. Good is a default answer, right? Tina's like, oh yeah, it is. So you weren't good. You might have been nervous, scared, unsure, thrilled. You might have been all sorts of things, but I guarantee you were not good. And so in this point, people go, I get you. I understand what you're saying. So vulnerability and congruence is the heart of what we work with in horses. And so bringing that piece up takes away excuses for people. All of a sudden, when we explain that horses can only stand to stay around congruence, so you're going to need to show up vulnerable and congruent for the next 45 minutes. All of a sudden, the excuse that they may have had is out the window. All right, as I go on to the next one, is this making some sense to people where you can see already by them just understanding vulnerability and congruence? And it's obviously not as long as our conversation as I'm talking right now. In the chat, is this making some sense? Where if your clients have the tool of understanding that, hey, horses work on congruence, they need this, so you better as heck show up congruent here. All right, perfect. I'm getting some yeses. So number 2, mirror and reflection. So again, I'm explaining to clients, you're a giant mirror to horses. But here's the thing, as you are showing up and reflecting in your environment, okay, you're a giant mirror to horses. The only thing with this mirror is that it reflects what is actually going on for you. This is a congruence conversation, not just what you want it to reflect. So you can see I'm starting to take the logs out of the log jam before we start. I want them to understand that you're not going to, horses don't buy your bullshit. If you've been going to talk therapy for a long time and you've allowed yourself to tell a therapist whatever you wanted and somehow you got away with it, you ain't going to get away with it here. And so I will have conversations quite like this. And again, obviously there can be light and fun pieces of it. And then I'll say something like, so for an example, if you look in the mirror and you smile in the mirror, that mirror smiles back at you. And you're the only person smiling into that mirror that knows whether you have a smile on the inside or not, because the mirror reflects the smile. The difference with horses is they're not looking at what they see in the mirror, they're looking at what you feel inside. And it's the incongruence between what you say and how you feel as you are showing up in the environment that they cannot handle. And people go, ooh. As it starts to click in their mind that maybe for the first time ever, they're not going to get away with that piece while they're here. Okay. Any questions, comments, feel free to throw them. Number 3, I can only see half my screen, so I apologize. I think this is number 3. The importance of talking about predator, prey, and herd. Fight, flight, maybe, maybe not, but predator, prey, herd. This is such a key piece that people need to understand. We're predators, people. We are predators. They are prey. The entire focus of my first and all of my sessions is becoming the person that a prey animal would be willing to accept into their herd. That is the basis of the work we do, because you've got to move out of every bit of incongruence in your life and move towards vulnerability, congruence. So that reflection is something that they're actually willing to genuinely allow into their herd. So they have a social scale. Whoops, sorry. They have a social scale. They're relying on each other. At this point, I talk to people, are you somebody who can be relied on? How do you show up as the person who can rely on themselves? For many, many people, this is a rely on themselves conversation. I work with people who have just moved into the safe house and they show up here less than 8 hours, oftentimes, from when the incident happened that landed them in the safe house. This rely on piece, becoming somebody that a prey animal would allow into their herd as a predator. This is a big, big piece for people. We're doing a simple walk and talk, Tamara. Raise your bar and start working at a much higher level. Can you see already, and let's put it in the chat, can you see already how people have to step up to become the person? And when you do that, from an entrepreneurial point of view how they might just want to come back again and again and again. Anyone? Yeah. So we're partnering with them. And when we can actually partner, I'm not talking about just getting out there and the horses are kind of moving away from you constantly. I'm talking about an actual partnership because you showed up vulnerable, because you understand your mirror, okay? Because you understand prey predator, okay? Yeah, and they might wear a mask and not get vulnerable. And guess what? That's where, as facilitator, you get to ask great questions. And we'll get to that, Lynn. But absolutely, they may start with some masks on. This is going to help dismantle some. Your job will be to help dismantle the rest. Understand as well, you are a predator. It is also your job to join the herd. Don't forget that as facilitator, when you're wearing a facilitator hat, that you don't have to be vulnerable and that your reflections aren't in on this. It's your job to become the person that can facilitate at the highest possible level. And you do that through the 7 steps. Number 4, 40-foot, 10-foot heart coupling. I want to be clear. I don't care if it's 40 feet, 50 feet, 75 feet, 100 feet. Horses are sensitive animals. They feel you. They feel your client within close proximity. Okay. Tons of studies on this. They're so sensitive. They can feel a human heart. They say within, kind of that 10-foot range, the horse heart and the human heart can actually couple. So there's a couple things here. And again, I'm telling clients this. So if the horses are not willing to be within 40, 50 feet of us, we need to look inside ourselves. So again, this is both client and yourself conversation. What is it that I am reflecting out? The horse, what incongruencies am I bringing that the horse is not willing or comfortable enough to be around? Great question. You can see how a session can start very, very early based on these, because as the client gets closer and closer to a safe client for the horses show up every single time. And if they don't, the client is not, or you are not. And so just a reminder here, I'm sure if you did some sort of a certification, you don't ever want to be within that 10-foot heart space of the horse and the client. Okay. If it's a safety piece and you have to go in for a sec, that's different. But safety pieces go way down when the client understands what it takes, these 7 elements, to be a safe person for the horse. Throwing clients in with no understanding is not stewarding your horses. They're not safe clients for your horses. Okay. So I am never within that 10-foot of the horse and the human, because that's their space. And I'm reading nonverbal communication. Is the horse reflecting me, or is the horse reflecting the human, the client? Okay. Again, in the chat, just quickly making sense. Yeah, it's really important, Anne, that we switch. There's not a lot of conversations in horse facilitated development about stewarding the horses. And we believe, because we treat our horses well and feed them in these pieces, that that's enough. That's not. We are in a developed country. Feeding horses and making sure that they have, water is not stewarding horses. And so as we step up to a much higher level and realize that we need to become the person who's safe for our horses, and we need to create clients, put clients in parameters where they understand enough to become a safe person for the horse, that's a level of stewarding. There's a level beyond success, everyone. We call it significance, and it's up to us to step up to that level. Number 5, and I apologize, it's going long, but this is a really big one. This is how you can get people from making up stories. Everything a horse does is for a reason. That's why we work with horses, okay? Everything. They live primarily in the presence. Their life is survival. They don't waste energy doing anything that doesn't have a reason. Everything a horse. I'm very clear with clients. And I'm very clear with clients. If a horse can take one strand of their tail and knock a fly off their shoulder, a fly, how hard is it to hit a fly and actually get it? And get that fly, do you think, don't ever think for one moment that him putting his butt in your face or whipping you with the tail or putting his head down and licking and chewing wasn't for a specific reason. Everything. You empower your clients when you let them know that everything. And I say to them, you're going to hear from me a lot saying, I noticed when we were talking about your children, your horse was kind of low-headed. But there was a difference when you changed to your older children. your horse whipped his butt real quick, or he walked away. Why do you think that was? I don't tell them. It has nothing to do with what I think. But when I say that word, I noticed your horse did this when we were talking about that. Why do you think that is? 99.9% of the time, you know what the person answers? Not what we think. Something freaking profound. Why? Because I've told them already, everything the horse does is for a reason. We've talked about this. They're in that place of knowing what that reflection meant. But if we didn't go over this, they're going to say, I don't know, because his butt was itchy and he wanted to rub it on my back. Like, I don't know. They're going to pretend they don't know horses. Okay. You set them up for success when you explain to them that everything is for a reason. And every reaction that they have is in that predator prey moment. Okay. Love this one. Number 6, nonverbal communication. Do any of you, let's be really honest in the chat, do any of you feel not up to snuff when it comes to nonverbal horse communication? Like you just feel like, I'm not always sure. Okay, let's just be really vulnerable. And if the answer is no, I never feel that great. Sometimes I feel that all the time. I just want to know. Nonverbal communication. When it comes to horses, nonverbal communication. Perfect, Dawn. I appreciate that. I doubt myself. Sometimes. Perfect. Who else? How do you feel about it? Kelly's saying no. Great. Pretty comfortable. Can always learn more. Sometimes. Perfect. So here's the deal with nonverbal communication. You might be saying, why do we need to tell people about nonverbal communication? Because it's our job to empower them. That's how this works. That horses, through nonverbal communication, tell us, unlock the lock, reflect back, etc. Everything the human needs to know. Absolutely everything. So there's 2 pieces. Number 1, empower yourself. That nonverbal communication, there's no right or wrong answer. There's no like, it definitely means this or it definitely means that. When I ask the question to a client, hey, I noticed when we start talking about your ex-husband, the horse like completely walked away, like instantly. Why do you think that is? That nonverbal communication is up to the human, the client, to decide what that meant. And if they've been set up for success, they understand we mean business here, they're going to come up with something powerful. You know, you say, I noticed that the horse, his head's kind of low when you're talking about your children. What do you think that means? There was just a distinct change from a high head to a low head. What do you think that means? And we're thinking as facilitators, they're going to say, I don't know horses. But you've told them at the beginning, you've empowered them. And I want to empower each of you today that have those moments where you second guess. It's body language. We have been reading body language our entire life. Does that help any of you? This idea that we all know nonverbal communication and there's no right or wrong, good or bad here. You know, it's just what is effective or ineffective to that person in moving forward. And so when I ask that question to people and I say, I noticed this happened when you were talking about this, what do you think that meant? Which is what I'm talking about all day long, because I don't care their story. They don't have to tell me their story. As facilitators, a lot of facilitators get nervous that they are going to say, I don't know, they're a horse, or they're going to say something that's completely inaccurate. Well, it's not good or bad or right or wrong. Who are we to judge if it's inaccurate, what they say? But you know what's amazing is that when I stay out of it, when I allow the horses to be the gurus, I step back, I ask the question, I noticed the horse's head went really high. Something just went on there. I wasn't even in on the conversation, maybe. Maybe I'm 20 feet away and I say, pardon me, but did something just change in your thought pattern? Because I noticed the horse's head went really high. Yeah, it did. Okay, why do you think that was? They don't tell me, I don't know anything about horses. They say it went high because I just have this fear wash over me about blah, 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 blah. Oh, okay. Is this helping for people? And say, go with your gut. When you're not sure, don't analyze, is that what the horse was trying to say? Go with your gut. You'll know. But allow your client and empower them to do the same. Okay, so I pre-warn people, you're going to hear me ask questions about what the horses were doing. And what's amazing is I'll ask the question, and sometimes I have a little fear in the back of my mind going, are they just going to say, I have no idea, or because they're horses, or because, and you know what's amazing is that what comes out of their mouth next is freaking profound. Why? Because we've set them up for success. You can't expect clients to come out with the answers, to be present, to be vulnerable, to be all those pieces if we don't explain to them that that's how horses work. Of course, I'm going on and on today. This is going to be a lot quicker conversation with your clients. And lastly, but oh so importantly, presence. Presence is the first gift of the horse. I mean, I can feel when I say the word presence, this wash over my body of relaxing. And you know what? Most clients, when I finish either a meet the herd, 6-week program, the day, whatever it is, this is the piece that most people say, I realize I don't spend my life in the present. What a gift. I call it the first gift of the horse. How do I share presence with people? It is oh so important that we find a way to get ourselves, this is so important, ourselves present for the entire 1 hour, starting prior, or whatever the time is, and unwaveringly mirror that to our clients. So we talk so much about presence and how, because if we're not present, we're past our future. This is where I usually joke with clients and I say, you know, when you came at the gate, if you're sitting there going, how long is this going to be? I hope it's only an hour because I got to pick up the kids. You're not present. If you're driving up here thinking, the fight I got in this morning with my husband, you're not present. Okay. In those places of past and future, you're fear-based. In a place of fear-based, you are not present, you are not vulnerable, and you sure as hell ain't congruent. From that place, you are not safe to work with my herd. It is your job as facilitator to get yourself in the present and be unwaveringly holding your client in the present and mirroring it for them. So how do you do that? So presence for me, look it up in the round pen if you don't know. I do stick man every single time. Stick man, literally, time flies when you're in the present, you betcha. Stick man is literally walking people through their senses. And at the end, when they open their eyes, I'll say, out of your head, into your heart, one word, how do you feel? And then we start the walk and talk. So that place of presence, I don't care what they say. If they say, I had one recently and they said tiny, that was their answer. And it was such an interesting response. You know what I said? Perfect. And I've had people say angry. And I said, perfect. And I've had people say excited. And I said, perfect. Why? Because for so many people, that's the first time that they've actually lived in the present, been in the present in years and years and years. There's power in the presence, and that's the place where transformation and growth begins. So with those 7 elements, you go, oh my gosh, Tamara, this has taken 40 minutes. It's probably a lot more than that. Can you see how this gives people the gift, the tools, the resources to head out there and actually explore for themselves with horses what transformation and growth could look like? Anyone? Yeah, Lynn's saying very much so. So this might have taken 15 minutes. And you go, I don't have 15 minutes in a session. Your session started the second they walked in the door, in the gate. As you're going through these things, as they get closer and closer to authenticity, we don't live authentic lives. As they get closer and closer to authenticity, what happens? The horses show up. They start reflecting. They start heart coupling. They start doing all the things. But if you just walked in and said, okay, let's go meet the herd, which I guarantee many of you are doing, because I was doing it, because I wasn't taught any different. Can you see why it is so unsafe for your horses and so unsafe for you? And you'll notice in the round 10, I don't talk about horse safety. Why? When you set your clients up for success and you hold yourself to the accountability of that same mirror, match, reflection, presence, place of yourself, you become safe for horses. I work 100% at Liberty. We have zero concerns about safety. I'm not saying I don't watch it. I'm saying I don't have to, because we have become safe humans, safe clients, safe facilitators for our horses. So What do we do next? This has been 15 minutes. You know what I do? I give them usually a grooming brush and I say, okay, your goal is to become part of their herd. And they go out and become part of their herd. And if they can't, great. What do I do? If they keep going up to horses and they leave, I notice that you've approached 4 or 5 horses now, and every one of them has walked away. What do you think that means? Well, if I just asked that question and I hadn't talked about how horses work, what are they going to say? I don't know. They can tell that I'm scared of horses. Horses don't care if you're scared of horses, as long as you don't try to match and overcompensate that you're not scared of horses, right? If they go up, honestly, go try to be part of the herd. Let them do it. Maybe they have one that really is sensing to them. I noticed this horse here is really staying with you. You know what, when you went out there in presence, and I always send them out in presence, whatever the word was, great, stick with that until it changes. So as you're sticking with Tiny was one recently, just stay with that until it changes, but just stay vulnerable and holding that space and just go try to become part of the herd. Something miraculous is going to happen every time. These are those unknown moments. Because the clients are so set up for success, you don't need to have obstacle courses and start parading horses, right? That's like that go-to when nobody's set up for success. When you're present, you'll know you're out there. Tiny person goes out there, maybe they don't even want to go to the horses because they're nervous. I notice that you're standing back from the horses. What's going on for you? Well, or what are you feeling? I'm feeling sad. Oh, okay. You see how it just starts, because now they know how it's going to work. If they go up to horses and it's working really well, and then all of a sudden you notice a change in nonverbal communication. I noticed when you were there, something changed because the horse's head went really high. What changed for you in that moment? Oh, I was thinking about my mom and how I feel guilty. I haven't seen her in a while. Oh, you can see what I'm saying, right? That's this work, people. That's how you do it. But when they're set up for success, they already know the answer, and they already know they're not going to get away with trying to feed you a bunch of stuff. Okay. And so, Lynn, this goes back to kind of answering your answer. You said, what if the people keep their mask on? What if the people are not willing to be vulnerable? Well, that's where I become tougher and tougher as a facilitator. The ones that wear a mask that are not willing to be congruent. They say they're excited and nothing's, or they say the life's really good, but underneath it all, their marriage is falling apart, and they didn't tell you that. It becomes obvious because the horses ain't going to stay around, or boundary horse starts stepping up and pushing, or, this is where you read your horses. And so for me in that situation, well, I have no problem telling people rubber hits the road. You're either going to hang out here, we're both going to hang out for an hour and ignore the real reason you're here, or we're going to get congruent and the horses are going to be able to step up and reflect to you what's really going on and how it can help. But that's going to be up to you. And I had one this week where the client was here for 10 minutes and I told them to go home because they weren't in a place where they were willing to be. And they've come many times. They know the gig. So presence truly is the first gift of the horse. And then I always challenge people, afterwards, now go home. If you could do it on and off for an hour, what if you could do it on and off in your life for an hour a day? So at the end of this, now what? Okay, so you've done this incredible session. You've explained to them how it works. I guarantee if you set them up for success, the horses will crack them open. They will find the piece they came for. They will reflect that out, and they will find that aha transformation impact that they came. And so often that they didn't come for. When I go back to that executive director that I talked about, she had a real hard front on her. She was very clear on, I got my shit together. I take care of people who don't. Well, you guys all know horses love to crack that stuff open, right? She, of course, left in tears. She, of course, signed her group up. She, of course, signed herself up. She signed her husband up. She signed her daughter up, and on and on and on it went. Okay. So, but the reality is, if I was not willing to, if you're not willing to step up in your facility, understand that we don't play with ponies. Understand that fostering the horse-human connection is a responsibility. It's not a right. It's a responsibility to work at a much higher level. All of a sudden, we move from that level of success, that level of having clients, to a level of significance. And I'm going to tell you, there's a whole hell of a lot of success and significance, but there's no significance in just success alone. So now what? You get to the gate. It's time to go back to making offers. You can see that people had a, breakdown, breakthrough. They've had impact. They've seen the horse-human connection. Now what? 9 times out of 10, they're going to say, when can I come back? When do you have another spot? When can you fit me in? You know what's interesting? Of all of those people who have come and built my business, probably less than 1% said, how much is it? I was the person who said, okay, I can get you in. I suggest a 4-week. I suggest a 6-week. I suggest we go one-on-one until we get through your goals. And I'd like you to know that this is the cost, because none of them asked me. I feel as a business owner, I obviously want to know what that is. And Melissa's saying, it's this, Melissa. I didn't know it was that, Melissa. Stay in your own lane. Yes. It's not up to you to prejudge other people and what their associations, what they can afford, how badly they want it. Because when people come to my facility, 9 times out of 10, they cry. Why? Because we've set them up for success. They found the piece that they were actually coming for, and you can't put a value on that. They're coming back every single time. So now what? Trust your herd. This is such a big piece. If you set your clients up for success, you show up yourself as the top-notch contributor in the present, vulnerable, understanding you're just here as a conduit. Stay present and allow yourself to facilitate in the unknown moments. Yes, we give you exercises in the round pen. We never give them to you so that you go out and parade horses and drag them around obstacle courses. We give them to you for tools for confidence for your back pocket, so that when you've set them up for success, it's a tool to hand them a brush and say, go become part of that herd. But you don't know what's going to happen when they go out. But you know, if you stay present, you allow your horses to step up, you become aware at a much higher level of what to ask. Trust yourself, trust the horses too, and allow them to step up in those unknown moments. They will bring forth pieces that you never could have brought by simply bringing an obstacle course and dragging a horse around it. So empower your clients with this opportunity. That's what this is. This is an opportunity for your clients to experience the magic of the horse-human connection. We are all in this business because we had the opportunity to experience the magic of the horse-human connection. Nobody has never seen a horse in their life and then all of a sudden says, I'm going into horse facilitated development. Every one of you has a story. I guarantee it. Within every single one of you is a story of the horse that changed your life, the moment that changed your life, a time that you went to something and you broke down to break through. Every one of you have it. It might not feel significant. It's there. I guarantee it. Don't rip people off by hauling them into your pasture, parading them around obstacle courses with an expected outcome and expect that's enough. It's never enough. And each of us know that at a base core level. So as I breathe before giveaway time, I know I'm over on time. I just don't have a clock. What's your biggest aha? Take a moment, throw it in the chat. I hope this resonates with you. I truly hope you step up to really stewarding horses and allowing people to be in an environment that's safe for their horses and is really conducive to massive growth, because that's what this work is about. Taylor, I love it. Not doing obstacle courses. I'm not saying you can't have obstacles. I'm saying don't parade and puppeteer horses around with expected outcomes. It's not what people are coming for. We talk transformation, impact, and growth, and then we get in fear out of the present and go back. So keeping your herd safe with boundaries. Yeah. Allow clients to be present. Yeah. It's so important that clients are present. Yeah. Being flexible. I never know what's going to happen in a session. I'll be really honest about that. I'm just reading. Just a sec. I'll talk about that in a sec. Too much information. Yeah, totally. If they're not coming out, it's too much information. Sharing the people that need me. People 100%, you are key to someone's lock, but they remain locked when you don't share your passion on fire and when you don't make them offers. Nonverbal. Yeah. Vulnerability and presence. Totally. That's why we work with horses, and if you're not willing to be vulnerable, you'll never be congruent. And a non-congruent person is not safe to be around horse. That's how serious this is. A non-congruent person is not safe to be around a horse. Ooh, that's scary. You know what happens? You might say, oh, my horses are fine. They're really easy going. Every time you put a non-congruent person in front of a horse, it like kills their soul a little bit. It's like a little bit by a little bit by a little bit. And you know what happens? It takes the trust in you down a little bit by a little bit by a little bit. It's your job to steward your horses and have the right people in front. Here's a brush, no go, become part of the herd. Okay, perfect. I love it. The horse, everything horses does is for a reason. That's like the base of what we do, 100%. Oh, I've seen that twice. Yeah, be there for your horses. Allow, you know, the whole thing about trust is that, are you setting your horses up so they can trust you? Yeah, cool. All right. Cool. Well, it's been a good, I apologize, I'm over time here. So really, oh yeah, I don't know that my last bit I said I'd come back to is, yeah, I have no idea. I set every client up like this and I remind them of all these things every single time. And I do stickman presence exercise every single time before we start. And we end as we end. And I do it for myself. I also spend 15, 20 minutes before I have clients, getting myself in my mind. What do I need to be vulnerable about today? Where's my congruence in myself today? What am I nervous about? Because I can pretend I'm not nervous when 24 social workers come here, but I am. So it's time to start facing up to these things prior. But that's about the unknown moments. That's that piece of when you are so present in a session, you will have awarenesses that you could not have had before if you weren't willing to allow yourself to be present. And so from presence comes awareness. And from awareness and presence comes allowing. And when you can start allow your horse to step up and be the guru and bring the pieces, you can stop worrying about exercises and pylons and all the things that you think you need to keep yourself busy, and allow the horse, trust the horse. That last section, trust yourself to trust the horse to bring the piece forward that needs to be reflected that day. Because this is not about people and their whole life spewing out. It's about the piece that's safe for them to share and grow that day. And I'm not a mental health professional. So how the heck am I supposed to know that? I trust my horses that they know that. They bring forward the piece and they actually cut me out when it's going too far. So let's finish up. Thank you for your time. I apologize. I know I'm over time. I don't know what time it is. Giveaways. I have 2 giveaways. The first one I'm going to put in the chat. Would anybody love everything I've just gone through in a hard copy that you could print out that has a voice message with me chatting about this stuff in like a 5 minutes condensed, so you can find out how the hell do you do this in 5 minutes and not an hour and 45 minutes. All right, fortune favors the brave, the bold, the ones that show up. This is a live giveaway only. And I want to be clear, Tina and Jessica are both saying yes because they're together. I love to stick to my word, and my word is that when you show up live, fortune favors the brave and the bold, because I know you can all be somewhere today. And again, I love this work, but if nobody wants to work with this work, I'm sitting here talking to myself. So grab the link. I just put it into the here. It's a Google Drive link. Please grab it because it's for live people only. Okay. Grab the link. It's there. There is a 5-minute at the end that goes kind of over all of this. This is recorded so you can hear the long version, but it's the best 5, 10, 15 minutes you will ever spend with clients. Okay. The horses will step up right away. It's, oops. Yeah, the horses will step right away. So there you go. Make sure you grab it. The second giveaway, who has tickets? I just want to hear yes or no in the chat. Do you have a ticket for Equine Edge yet? Or do you not have a ticket for Equine Edge yet? Or do you have no freaking clue what the hell Equine Edge is? Okay, very quickly. I have spent my life in business, and you know what business people do? They go to conferences, they go to summits, they learn from other people. We don't do that in this, and it's crazy. Again, we don't play with ponies. We, as you can see, it's about stepping the industry up to a much higher level. So our first online conference is coming out June 22nd, 23rd. It is online. Why? Because we're international, but we have the best of the best thought leaders coming. So who's coming really quickly? Anybody heard of the Talvequist? Linda Kahanov? I mean, incredible. Really, you know, thought leader in our... She's the keynote kicking us off. They're all keynotes. Second off, if you haven't read Half Broke, Ginger Gaffney, that for all of the times that you fault, that you trip, that you say, I am not cut out for this. This woman was working in prisons, detentions, high drugs, all of these pieces. And she could still vulnerably write about going home and saying, am I making a difference in these people's lives? Incredible. Interestingly, I would love it in person too. That's the long-term goal, Taylor, is for us to be in person. Ginger Gaffney, amazing. Dr. Susan Fay, Sacred Spaces, the first person I ever heard talk about the mixture of science and spirit. How the heck do you explain what we do? Left brain, right brain, the whole thing. Incredible. We have a new speaker that I haven't even announced, works on belief change, actual core level, cell level belief change with horses. She's going to be there. So here's the part about this second. If you have not gotten a ticket yet, would you like to be able to get the ticket? Early bird tickets are sold out. 100 tickets out the door. Early birds are gone. Okay. Fortune favors the brave and the bold. In the chat, would you like to be able to buy them now at early bird price? So I've got a yes on Tina. I've got a yes on Jessica. And I'm literally writing this down. Don Roberts, Tina. Okay, for 24 hours. Oh yeah, I'll go over the price. Early bird price, which is sold out. If you go on the site right now, they're sold out. Early bird price for live tickets, which means you can just come in live, is early bird price, $79 US. VIP, which gives you not only live to the entire weekend, but if you can't make live, it gives you all the recordings, all the handouts for life. To give you an idea of workshops, Jessica and I are doing a workshop on how do you make up exercises in the unknown moments? How do you do what we just did and then actually be able to come up with exercises you could write down? There's a spirit writing workshop. There is, I can't even think off the top of my head. There's so many workshops that are actually implement into your business right now. And so VIP early bird price, which is sold out, is $179. And so the early bird price at, pardon me, early bird at $179 gives you the entire live. It gives you all the recordings and gives you all the handouts for life. So if you want one of those, please put a yes in here and I will be personally messaging you within the next hour and the link will only be open today. I don't want you paying more than you have to because the price has already gone up. Okay. And the last thing is I will be drawing for one free VIP. So if you have already purchased a ticket or if you are going to purchase a ticket on the early bird price and you win, I will be refunding your ticket price. Okay. So again, I will be, yes, or you can give it to a gift for someone who cannot afford to attend. How cool are you, Lynn Mosley? So yes, if you want that early bird link, please put it in right now. I'll be going through the chat in the next hour as soon as I can and be able to send that off. So it's been a long one, but I hope it's been helpful. So the next Round Pen Live, if you're new here, we do Round Pen Live. If you can't get into the Google Drive, if you can't get the link, reach out to me. Next Round Pen Live. Round Pen Live is once a month. It is free training, May 27th at noon, 12 p.m. PST, PDT. It's the same time as this every single time. So I hope that you got value. I hope you're feeling a little bit more confident in just setting your clients up for success. If you're not part of the Round Pen, grab this QR code, make sure you're there. We try to share as much value as we possibly can. And yeah, someone just said they're off camping. Guess what? It's, oh, that's a holiday there. Okay, perfect. Thanks for showing up. Would love to know in the Round Pen, post up what was your biggest takeaway and how are you committing to changing your business going forward? So thanks everybody for showing up. Again, make sure you've got a yes in that chat if you want the link, and that early bird link is only going to be active for a couple hours for you. So just because it's only the ones that show up live that get the benefits. So thank you so much. I appreciate what each of you are doing in the world of horse facilitated development, because this work works and together is the only way we get to change the world. So thanks everyone for showing up.